Hey everyone, how's it going? It's 79 Dotson here. I just love that username. Don't know why I don't use it more. Well, for me, whenever I buy a car or a trailer or boat or RV, whatever, I acquire a shoebox. Now on top I write what kind of car it is. This one's for my blue Toyota truck. And I have several of them up there, and I have a couple on like shelves and stuff. I got one for like my 95 Subaru that I sold and the diesel Rabbit I had, and this, you get the picture. So I should probably make a video of those too, because I put a lot of money into that 95 Subaru I had. But anyways, let's get started. I have a lot of records. It's almost filled to the top. And most of these parts I bought, or when I first bought it and I was fixing it up, to make it my car. That's probably why I like it so much. Let's see, I got a receipt from Ace. Looks like it was for when I got some keys made for it. Let's move this over here. Here's one of those Rock Auto receipts. That's where I buy most of my auto parts from, is rockauto.com. And I buy some from Gina's Auto Wrecking, my favorite wrecking yard around here. And I have gone to Pick and Pull, but they're just so far away. These are for the when I bought all the parts to upgrade my brakes to the V6 calipers that are bigger. I've done the master cylinder and brake boost, but not the calipers here. I gotta modify the backing plates. Foil body gasket. Expanding foam. Expanding foam was to fix the rust holes if you didn't figure it out. This one goes to my other truck. The 90. This one's from the dealership when I replaced the cold start switch. Very expensive, and it's unique to 1988. I bought a couple used ones, but they're just from different years, so it just didn't work right. The truck is really hard to start. I have to only sat for like 2-3 hours, but it'll start fine if it was 20 degrees out. So I have a unique problem there. And here is, I bought a couple door lock cylinders, and I bought a hydraulic hose, oxygen sensor, and well, maybe this is when I bought the V6 brakes. I heard too many stories about these trucks getting stolen because the lock cylinders are worn out. My truck has a lot of miles, and lock cylinders are very worn out. You could start it with a screwdriver at one point, so I bought lock cylinders to the doors, and I got the ignition switch key to the lock cylinders. A little bit of a peace of mind there. And talking of the devil, there's the receipt for when I got the ignition lock cylinder rekeyed. And here's a receipt from Winchester for when I bought some antifreeze. The truck has a slow leak. One of the hoses where it hooks up to the timing chain cover, it just leaks. It's a new timing chain cover, and the hose is brand new too, but it just leaks. So I got an idea how to fix it. I'm gonna try a different type of hose clamp. Here's another radiator hose. We were just talking about that. And here's a receipt for one. Was this the first time or the second time I painted it? This might have been the second time when I painted it blue. I got a receipt from a repair shop. I got it smogged, I guess. And the problem with old rallies is they give you a receipt, but they don't really tell you what you bought. Oh, I guess they do. I just wasn't looking hard enough. That's for when I bought another radiator hose and more antifreeze. Here's another smog check. I think this one failed. When I did the head gasket, or excuse me, when we replaced the head, we didn't hook something back up. They said they smogged it again for free and fixed what I didn't hook up. But anyways, moving on. And I bought some bushings to put in the new leaf springs I bought for my truck. The leaf springs are like $150. I bought them used, but the leaf springs turned out to be aftermarket, so the bushings wouldn't fit. And on top of that, all the bolts are frozen in place. Not a single one will move. So, anyways, someone I know said they'll give me their old leaf springs from the '83 4-wheel drive for free. So, might pay someone else to do that though. And this is when I bought the bracket for the emergency brake. The bracket had kind of a, never seen it before. It had like instead of going flat out like that, it'll go, so the cable will have too much play in it, so it'll tighten up the brake tight enough. Got one off a totally burned out 400. Interior is burned out, the engine is burned out 3.0, from the best I can tell, and yeah. I got something from DMV, but I don't really know how to read it, so. Looks like I bought a socket or something here. Impact socket. I don't use impacts. Oh yes, I got an impact. I never use it, but I prefer to use the hand tools. This one I got it weighed when I first bought the truck. It had a junk title. So I had to go get it weighed, VINs verified, because it's a commercial title. I had to get that, start over. Since it's a commercial title, when you revert it from a junk title to a regular title, you have to get it weighed. So, at the time, the truck weighed 3,540 pounds, with the toolbox and little other odds and ends. I didn't know till later. I should have took the toolbox out, because they charge you by the pound. I don't know what I bought here. It just says $14. More antifreeze, and it says I bought a trans hose. Oh, I bought antifreeze and a little bypass hose for the coolant that goes around the throttle body, or the thermostat housing. And it looks like I just bought some studs and bolts. I don't know what size they were or anything, but it cost $8. Well, $9 I guess. Close. Round up. And it just says I bought something, a Fel-Pro something. And it's a gasket, so it cost $15. Oh, my hair's a mess, isn't it? Wow, I really spent some money here. $321. It's about what the tires cost on it. Last time I bought tires for it. 2 tires, not even 4. Now I bought some steel white here. Might have been when I did the rear end. Changed out the third member. What's the date? No, I did the rear end in 2014. You know, maybe it was 2015. I don't really remember. It's about the time I rear-ended that lady. My push bar absorbed all the impact and it hurt my car, but her car had a few dents. So, 2012 Honda Crosstrek. Never forget that. Here's where I bought the master cylinder and the brake booster. You know what? No, just this master cylinder. I think I had the brake booster left over from another project. Pick and pull. Here's a receipt from another master cylinder I bought from a 96 Land Cruiser. Same place. This video's been so long. Oh yeah. Here's where I had to pay someone else to do the throttle, to replace the throttle position sensor. After like 10 tries, I tried to adjust the best I could myself. You know, I just had to pay someone else to do it. You know, it just wasn't working. I was wasting my money. Best $60 I ever spent. And here's, looks like an oil change. Here's another Rock Auto receipt. I bought a water pump, a radiator cap, oil pump, and timing chain cover. And somewhere in here I also bought a timing chain set. When we were getting the timing chain off, the cover actually broke, and somehow the oil pump broke too. So here's their smog certificate. Looks like the estimate side, though it's not the final receipt. Clutch master cylinder. I know I replaced that part twice, so there's probably no receipt in here. Yeah, clutch master and slave cylinder. Kind of had I bought a cheap clutch master cylinder the first time, and what brand did I get the second time? I think I got it. Dorman. This time I got it. Well, I got the Japanese one the first time, but that one didn't last so long, obviously. Yeah, just the little end that connected to the clutch pedal stripped itself out really bad, so it just wouldn't connect to, you know, it would only sometimes connect to the clutch pedal because it wasn't really, no threads. What I do here, it's a work order. Looks like a smog certificate. Well, all it says is numbers, and it says it's shipped by FedEx, so I guess we'll never know what that is. Now I bought an oxygen sensor, which turned out to be bad. It went bad after only a few months. I ended up buying a factory Toyota oxygen sensor. It's been on there ever since. And brakes for a V6. For the brake caliper conversion I'm going to do, the brakes are just about worn out now, so I'll be doing that probably sooner than later. What's this? Well, I bought something at the dealership. Here's the throttle TPS I bought from Pick and Pull. I found the V6 Camrys, it's the same sensor but it's a different plug, but if you get one from a 4-cylinder Camry from like 90 or something like that, before, maybe it might have been 87 to 90, they had the same sensor, same plug and everything, but cheaper, not from the truck. And here's where I bought the stuff, the timing chain and all that. Timing chain, I bought the timing chain metal guides, did the conversion. Timing chain tensioner and a gasket set. This is one of those real big long ones when I first got the truck. Brake shoes, carpet, PCV valve, drum brakes, the drum brake hardware set, wheel cylinders, lug nut lock, which ended up committing suicide on me not too long after I bought it. tailgate handle, wheel cylinders, tail light lens, oil filter, and air filter. Thermostat. One of the mini thermostats I've replaced on that truck since I bought it. I'm on like number 5 right now. I kept replacing thermostats because I thought they were bad, but it turned out to be a clogged up radiator. Yeah, another thermostat. I think this is expanding foam to fix all the rust holes. What did I buy? No, it doesn't really say. This is insulated ring. This is when I installed a really big 16-inch fan for the radiator to try to combat those overheating problems that ended up being nothing. Oh, nothing but a bad radiator. I was looking at the wrong place. How much money did I spend on that? $40. Here's when I had to buy one of the engine computers. For some reason, the water leaks on top of the computer through the windshield or under the windshield wiper arms or something, or when you go through a puddle, and it gets the computer all wet, and then the computer acts all weird. So what I did was I just wrapped the computer up in a couple garbage bags and just cut out a couple holes just big enough to plug in the computer. It's been like that for a year now. No problems. Don't have to buy a computer every year now. Cylinder head bolts. I bought a head too, but I don't think I got a receipt for it. Wiper blades. Master cylinder. Brake fluid. Gear lube. More gear lube, and even more gear lube. I guess that's when I was doing the rear end. Oh boy, we're getting there. I also bought a couple of CV axles when that's going to replace the front differential to match the gear ratio to the rear one. I thought we are going to take the axles out for sure, and the boots are ripped, so I just bought new ones. But turns out my friend that was going to help me do the work, or he actually did most of the work since I don't really know how to do that kind of thing. Well, not yet. I mean, I'm learning, but you know, I'm not an expert like him. He was able to do it with the axles in there, so one of the mini bypass hoses I bought right here. It looks like I bought some grease and windshield washer fluid. And this looks like the tires I bought for it a couple years ago. Those tires suit really well in loose dirt and mud and gravel, but they're absolutely horrible into ice and snow. I won't buy them again after my experience earlier this week. Oh, it was the scariest drive of my life. The back tires and the funny thing is the back tires that do absolutely horrible in gravel and loose dirt and rain, they grabbed up pretty well in the snow. Total opposite. And here's I bought a ring and pinion for the old front axle. Change the gear ratios, but I ended up getting a really good deal on the whole assembly. I'm some guy on eBay. Just had to convert it from automatic hubs or the ADD type system. It used to vacuum hoses and stuff to, manual. The manual system. Not that hard. Everyone says you can't do it, but I did it. And here's another thermostat and the seal for it. Here's another thermostat. And another thermostat. Airflow meter. Yeah. This ain't Toyota's fault. I got kind of pissed off when I was working on it, so I got my hammer and I hit the old one as hard as I could, broke the plastic, and it never ran again until I had replaced it. That sucked. $100. And it looks like fluids of some kind. It doesn't really tell you what it is. Yeah, I bought an idler arm. Should have another receipt in there because I replaced it twice. I bought some tie rod ends that I ended up not needing. There's so many parts that I bought but just ended up not needing or changed my mind about doing or replacing. No, it just says pipe flange / seal, so radiator cap and oil pump. Okay, that's when I got the tire. I mounted the tires myself, but I don't know how to balance them, so that's for balancing. They actually ride pretty smooth with them having no weights on them at all for big tires. I'm surprised actually. Oh yeah, I bought a remote control thing for my winch that I ended up never using. I took it all apart to try to fix it and then I couldn't get it back together, so it's one of those kind of mess ups. I actually bought that from one of my old high school teachers. Their husband was selling it. And this just looks like it's hardware. For who knows what. Now here's just a receipt for the breather valves I bought for the axles, so water doesn't get sucked in there again. I only did that once. I'm glad I checked the axles because there was water in there. Their oil change. Looks like more oil. Gear oil. Looks like another CV axle receipt. I think it came in 2 packages, so our brake master cylinder from a 91 4Runner. I think that's the master cylinder that's on it now. And here's the rear brakes, just the actual brakes and the hardware. Cylinder head bolts and gasket set. I bought that truck blew the head gasket again because it's overheating so badly. I had someone come out and look at it for me, get their opinion. And they said, you know, I'll replace the radiator first before you replace the actual gasket. And sure enough, it fixed the problem. I still have I have everything except the head to do the gasket again, so if it does blow, I'm prepared. I bought a factory service repair manual. That's what that receipt's for. I put more money into this truck than I thought. Oil change. I've only owned it a couple of years. I haven't put too many miles on it. Looks like the radio. They keep buying used radios and they keep crapping out on me. I'm kind of afraid to buy a new one because I don't want someone to break into my truck to steal it. Distributor O-ring. For a while, whenever the engine you drove through the rain for a while, or it's saying like moist environment, it'll be hard to start. So it took me a long time. I thought, oh, it was the distributor pickup thing. Oh, it's the. I was like, oh, the O-ring looks pretty worn off of the distributor. Maybe that's getting water into the pickup. I don't remember what the problem was, but it's fixed now. Looks like maybe sealant. I don't know. Some of these receipts are just so vague. I bought some heater hoses, and it looks like I bought some headlights. Oh, and this is where I bought the current seat that's in my truck now. I bought a starter motor from a 79 truck. For some reason I liked just cranking sound that the older direct drive starters did, but now, you know, it's all about what gets the job done. And I bought like 5 starters for this truck so far. Some new, some used. Looks like a timing chain guide. All this is receiver lock switch, so whatever that means. And it looks like I bought a seat cover along the way. It might be those camouflage ones I bought from that Tercel when I had those bucket seats in my truck. It's all about bench seat now for me. This is when I bought the radiator finally. When was that? September 26, 2015. Looks like another oil change. Parking brake cable. That was pretty recent, yeah. January 24th. That parking brake cable is like wrong in every direction. It was kind of for the truck, but it kind of wasn't. You know, I had to drill it out. I had to take it to my bench grinder to make it so it'll work. And various other little modifications I had to make to it. And then after all that, it was too short. I wish there was a way I could stretch it out a little bit. I saved it, so maybe I'll think of something eventually. Maybe I could heat it up. Timing chain cover. Now I bought another winch motor for that winch. I have a winch bumper, so I would like to put a winch on it eventually, but I just don't go off-road in that kind of way right now. And here's where I go. What I do, buy some keys. I think I bought keys. Yeah, let's see that. EGR gasket. Air injection gasket, I guess. Looks like an invoice for throttle position sensor. Here's a Denso oxygen sensor receipt. That's the one that's under now. Intake manifold gasket, throttle position sensor, EFI tune-up kit. Wow. Well, we're about 75% of the way through. We're getting there. 1 gallon of antifreeze. It looks like there's oil change stuff after that. I change the oil whenever it looks dirty. You know, I sometimes do a lot of highway miles between oil changes. So, you know, if it's 6,000 miles and it still looks fairly clean, you know, I'm not going to change it. And I use good quality oil too. I don't use the cheap stuff. I don't use synthetic though. Yeah, I bought another master cylinder, it looks like. I bought a lot of master cylinders for this truck. More than I remember. And here's a receipt from when I got the old head taken to get degreased. I still have the old cylinder, the cracked cylinder head. I should go make a video of it because it's all cracked and if you don't look closely, you can't see the cracks. It weighs a ton though, so I don't know if I'll do it. Here's the leaf springs I bought that ended up being not really usable. Lower radiator hose. You know, I don't remember buying. You know, I might have bought this. I think it was so cheap that it wasn't worth sending back. It was the wrong. They sent me one for like the carbureted one, which does it's a little bit different than the fuel injection one. At least the hose I got was different. Fuel injector O-ring. For a while, I kept having this horrible problem with my fuel injectors would just leak. I mean, they'll leak everywhere, and if they weren't, if it was invisible gas, you could smell the gas leaking. I thought that thing was going to burn to the ground one day when I was driving it. Spark plugs. Oxygen sensor gasket, EGR gasket, intake manifold gasket. More than likely the upper intake manifold gasket. Fuel filter. If you ever take the intake manifold off on one of these trucks, a 22R series engine, just replace the fuel filter at the same time. It's so hard to get at when the intake manifold's on. You'll save yourself a lot of grief later on. Trust me. There's a spark plug wires. I got the good ones, NGK. Of course, what my dad calls it, no good kind. Ha ha ha. Their intake manifold gasket. I was taking the intake manifold off so much that the gaskets they couldn't survive too much. Even though I was gentle with them. Their intake manifold gasket and more fuel injector O-rings. Yeah, it looks like this is when I bought the aftermarket temperature gauge, because the old one, after I went to the SR5 gauges, just for some reason the temperature gauge would just read whatever it wanted to. It would be right when I start the engine up, and it would just automatically go to the middle. Just cold engine, but still going to the middle. And even if the temperature gauge was unplugged, it would still go to the middle. So I just bought an aftermarket one. What the hell happened here? Registration, I guess. The rest of the stuff's not really relevant. Got a ticket for when I went through. Got a picture, my picture taken. Went for one of those red lights, and kind of a receipt or booklet thingy for my trailer brake controller, which is not really any good anymore. The heat, if it heats it, the heat, how warm it is, will affect how well the brake controller works. The hotter it is, the less it works. I guess that's what happens when you buy cheapy stuff. It's probably 20 years old before I got it. And I got a little booklet here with receipts and stuff. Whatever. So anyways, that's a lot of receipts and records for anyone that's still watching. Anyways, till we meet again.